one specifically came out after David Crosby passed away earlier this year. So, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young consists of David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, and Neil Young. And I recently saw Graham Nash in concert. It was like the best day ever. So it has interviews, essential songs, and just talks about the story of them. So this is, I'm guessing, what is the table of contents. So there is the introduction, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young's timeless harmonies touched a generation. Then the debut album, Crosby, Stills & Nash, on the essential songs that started it all. Then David Crosby, the Rolling Stone interview. In 1970, the former Bird discussed politics, creating new music, and flying high with Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Then Inside the Dorm Tour, the band and key associates revisited a wild 1974 run of drug-fueled and ego-ridden gigs. Then the true reunion of CSN. Rolling Stone joined David, Stephen, and Graham in the recording studio as they buried the hatchet. Then Melissa's Secret, Melissa Etheridge, and then partner revealed David Crosby to be their children's father. Then CSNY Reborn. David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, and Neil Young shared their plans for the future of the band. How Crosby's final album saved him. Crosby had a trying period leading up to his last LP. For free, I needed something that enlightens me, enlivens me, and makes me feel whole. Crosby's 20 essential songs. Rolling Stone's music experts weigh in on his singular catalog of gorgeous music. Ask Cross. Rolling Stone introduced the Ask Cross advice column in 2019, and for 3 years the rock star dispensed his own brand of sage wisdom. The wisdom of Cross. David Crosby sounded off on Justin Bieber, hard drugs, and why he was glad CSN were done. There was a little part of David Crosby in all of us. Sometimes ornery, often inspiring, and forever speaking his mind. Cross cut a path that his peers and legion of fans are still trying to follow. And if you didn't know, they started out as just Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but then Neil Young joined them later. And this is Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young at the Greek Theater in LA's Griffith Park on August 1969. I'm pretty sure at the 2008 Sundance Film Festival for the CSNY Deja Vu premiere, and I think that was the last time all 4 of them were together. My favorite song on the debut album is probably Wooden Ships. David Crosby as a bird with Roger McGuinn. And the fun thing about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young is that they all came from different bands, well, I guess except Stephen Stills and Neil Young. So David Crosby was from the Byrds. Graham Nash was in the Hollies. Joni Mitchell. Graham Nash dated Joni Mitchell. David Crosby during a picnic at Laurel Canyon home of Cass Elliot of the Mamas and the Papas on February 25th, 1968. And if you don't know, I love the Mamas and the Papas. Anyway, Neil Young and Stephen Stills were both from Buffalo Springfield, which is one of my favorites bands of that time. Also, I'm a Cass. Graham Nash, David Crosby, and Neil Young performing at the Altamont Speedway in Livermore, more trouble happened. Okay. Like, wasn't that when the Hells Angels, like, killed a ton of people while Rolling Stones were performing? Am I going crazy? Anyways, more beautiful photos. David Crosby with his girlfriend Christine Hinton at Peter Tork's house in 1969. Hinton died later that year in a car accident at the age of 21. And Peter Tork of the Monkees. It's really interesting to look through all this stuff because I get my name Laurel Canyon ASMR from Laurel Canyon in California, where all of them lived, and it's so cool. If you haven't seen the documentary Echoing the Canyon, it talks about all the people who lived there, and like during the 60s and 70s, and how they like what they did. Like, they would go to each other's houses. They would go to each other's houses and they would just play music or hang out. Crosby, Stills, and Nash in the studio in 1977. This image was used on the back cover of the CSN album, which was released on Atlantic Records on June 17th of that year. Oh my gosh, yeah, see, there's Graham Nash in the Hollies. I'm a big fan of the Hollies. I think Graham Nash was the most surprising addition to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young because the Byrds in Buffalo Springfield, they were kind of making similar music to what Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young became, but Graham Nash was making like pop music, you know what I mean? So it's a different kind of vibe for him, but he ended up being like my favorite member. So Jan Dance, Crosby's wife, Julie Seifert, David Crosby, and Melissa Etheridge at Seifert and Etheridge's home, 1999. Etheridge with her daughter Bailey and son Beckett during the 2011 Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony. There's lots of reading in here. I'm very excited to actually read it. And there is Neil Young and Stephen Stills in Buffalo Springfield. Graham Nash with Cass Elliot. I have this photo somewhere. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young at the Oakland's Coliseum on July 13th, 1974. Oh, David Crosby was arrested on April 1982 and charged with drug and gun possession. 40 at the time, he served 9 months of a 5-year sentence in a Texas state prison. I didn't know he was arrested. Neil Young at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington during the CSNY tour in February 2000. This is all of them. Well, not all of them. It's Stephen Stills, Neil Young, and David Crosby. David Crosby. David with his wife. David with his band. These are all wonderful songs. David Crosby is an incredible songwriter. David Crosby. More David Crosby. Oh, the 58th Annual Grammy Awards at LA Staples Center on February 15th, 2016, with Nile Rodgers looking on. Crosby was nominated for 10 Grammys during his career and won once in 1969. these must have been times they were featured in Rolling Stone during their era. That is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little flip through of this magazine. As always, I have been Laurel Canyon ASMR. If you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, you don't have to, but it is always just very much appreciated by